All right, hello. Welcome to Otis Frampton Live again. Ooh, 2 in a row. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. Sorry I was gone there for a while, but I'm back. And today is a special day. It's release day for issue 2 of Patchwork Gorilla of Oz, which looks just like this. Just like that. And it also looks just like this, but you can't see it very well because of the light. But it's real. It's out in the world. It's at your local comic shop. It's sold digitally, Comixology and other sites. So please pick it up. And if you like it, please leave a review on the Amazon page for it. That would really help me out. All right, enough of that. Let's get to work here. Today, as with most days, where's that working on? I'm going to be doing real work on Patchwork Gorilla of Oz on the show because I got to keep moving forward, and that's what I do. So today I'm going to actually work on inking the background. I've worked on this page previously on a live stream, but because this panel has the same background as this panel, I'm going to try to get that done today. There's lots of dialogue on this page, as you can see here, so a lot of it will be covered up, but I always make sure that I complete the backgrounds for everything, even if dialogue balloons are going to cover it up, because you never know when you're going to want to use something for promotional purposes or repurpose it for something. It's just a smart thing to do. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm watching the chat. I'm watching the chat on Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble. So if you got any questions or comments or whatever, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to get to work here. I gotta remember where I was on this page. Call this. Oops. This page is ahead of where I am right now in terms of working. So I'm coming back to it and sort of having to remind myself what the heck I was doing. That's part of the fun of working on. You know what? I'm going to just jump in and use a more inking brush because I know what I'm doing here pretty much. That's part of the fun of doing indie comics, and I do consider Image Comics to be pretty much indie, because as a creator you're still doing everything yourself, except for like the printing and some promotion, but it's on you to get everything done. And those Image guys back in the day when they founded Image, that's what they were. They were indie guys. What was I thinking there? Oh, that's what I was thinking there. I have to remind myself I added something. Oh, I did it on the line art. I can't do that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people forget that when the original 7 Image guys broke away from Marvel to form their own company, they originally published Image through Malibu. I think it was Malibu, which is definitely like an indie, an indie company. So they got their start sort of small and eventually became bigger. One thing I gotta be kind of conscious of is that these backgrounds are serving sort of dual purpose. So yeah, we'll just do that. Doing very sort of loose pencils here because kind of in the zone a little bit, working on this. Whoops. So when I get that way, I do less and less, sort of safety iterations of panels, and sort of jump right in with a more permanent brush. Otherwise, I'm using a brush like this that has a more sketch feel, and it feels less permanent, and it'll take a little more time to refine once you're in the inking stage, if that makes sense. Now, once I get this done, finished inked, I may have to actually go in and make little edits, even though I'm going to be copying and pasting it into this new layer because it's the same background. But because certain things are covered up in the original, I gotta make those considerations. Whew. How's everyone doing today? I've been sort of rushing all morning because I had to run to the comic shop. I have not gotten my comps for issue 2 of Patchwork Girl from Image yet. I don't know why. I'm still waiting to hear back as to why that is. But I actually ran to my local comic shop, pick up some copies of my own comic just for like promotional purposes. There we go. I'd probably be working a little bit more cautiously if I wasn't sort of in the zone on this comic right now. And God, I love that feeling. I love the feeling of really knowing your comic enough. And it's weird because drawing is a lot like exercising, in my opinion. A lot of it is muscle memory. Oh, you know what? I want to change something else here. A lot of it's muscle memory, and so like anybody who exercises regularly or irregularly knows that when you go a couple days without exercising, and then you try to get back into the groove of it, it takes a little while to let your body remember what it's like. All right, I'm gonna organize the right roughs. So that's okay so far. I wonder if I can just kind of freestyle the inking on these bricks. I guess we'll see, because I'm going to try. Because I really want to get the inking done on this page. Alright, let's just jump in. Okay, where was I? Anyway, big thanks to my local comic shop, who saw what I was doing, buying my issues or copies of my own comic, and gave them to me at cost. That was nice. Probably going to go into some editing on these lines, but for now, let's just get them in there. These characters are coming down in the mountain. One thing I did do is sort of, sometimes I like to do like a pre-lighting look, and I did that. I wanted to have like dappled lighting, so I did that to remind myself. Oops. That's better. I think I gotta fix that. Whoa. You know, I think I'm making these a little too small, so I'm going to go back and fix that. Can't have them too big yet, or too small yet, I should say. That's better. turn off my pencils layer real quick here so I can focus on some of the details. Having a lot of fun with the backgrounds now that well, after issue 4, when they get out of whoops, yeah, when they get out of the Dr. Pip's mansion, gives me a little bit more leeway for fun backgrounds now that they're out into Oz finally. So I'm kind of taking advantage of that, at least within this issue 5, to really show detail in the backgrounds. Just make sure I separate these out so that some of them are stairs and some of them are just the path. There we go. One thing I've been doing right now is like little hints of previous structures in Oz. Just here and there. I need to make that a little slimmer. There we go. Always gotta zoom out. Make sure everything looks okay, you know, from a distance, so to speak. Make that a little wider. Oops, yeah. What was I thinking there? Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking. One of the nice things about doing your own thing is if you need to sort of, work loosely a little bit, and you you can fix it later if you need to, just to keep things moving. And I do that a lot. I know, well, I can fix this in the coloring, or I'll add that later, just to keep the ball rolling downhill. And that's so important when you're making your own comics. You gotta keep the ball rolling. Just checking to see if I missed anything. Like, I might add some mushrooms here and there, because if they were in previous pages, and that was an element of the background. Sorry, I was checking on some chat. It's pretty much all going to be covered up anyway. But like I said, I like to make sure that I don't leave anything unfinished in panels, just in case you need to use, something for promotional purposes. It's always helpful to just draw everything. This. Okay. As it gets farther away, it's going to have less and less detail in the bricks. Even though this panel is going to be the same background as this panel, I'm probably not going to finish the inks on this panel's background until I do the lettering. So it might be a case where I have to do the lettering before I can even move forward with anything else, so that I know where things need to be altered for the second panel. But that's one of the reasons why, oops, come on, I do my lettering, at least, sort of temporary, at the layout stage. It's really useful to do that so you can have some flexibility. Oops, what did I do there? Oh, I screwed something up there. Let's fix this. Everything? I think so. That's a long panel. I'll show you what I've been doing though with these first 5 pages or so. Oh, something really missing here. There we go. Still can't see it as well as I'd like. They're coming down the mountain, and I wanted to really show, a lot of the landscape. So I'm laying out the pages in ways where the landscape and the way they're moving over it is is just as important. Kind of wanted to basically establish, a sense of scale to Oz, since I haven't been out of a certain building for a while. All right, so let's take this. And just gonna copy and paste it. Whoops, let's do that again. Drag it over here. That's weird. Oh, sorry, just noticed something. Get rid of that. Okay, so yeah, so turn the temporary text back on. Probably not going to have to do too much, actually, because I think I pretty well planned for where the, yeah, looks like it's actually going to work out pretty well. I do have to add some stuff down here, obviously, because I had this panel coming in from the top and going out down to the bottom to the trim line, because I wanted it to feel like they're moving through the space. It's just a little thing I do once in a while. Expanding a panel to the trim line makes it feel like it's coming, like it gives emphasis, or there's other reasons you can do that, but for this case, I wanted it to feel like they were coming in and then leaving. So I gotta add something to that, and I'll do that right now. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm gonna do something. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna add. Let's not add too much. Here we go. That didn't take a lot of work. I'm going to have to add, I guess, to that. I'll copy and paste that later. Whoops, what am I? Oh, that's why. There we go. There we go. Just gonna add this. Oh, that's weird. Why is it not lining up? Oh. That's why it's supposed to be down here. There we go. Okay. And like you can see that I draw the characters separately from the backgrounds pretty much always, except for when they're interacting. Sometimes I'll draw them together, but in this case you can really see why, because I needed certain areas to be drawn in previously. All right, so let's get back to work here. Gonna finish up the pencils for these pages, for these panels. I think I'm just gonna do this. I'm not really trying to make it match up to anything in the previous background. I don't think it really matters, to be honest. Add some stairs here. And then of course, it does need to look like she's walking on the path, so we need to fix this. There. That works. And then looks like I'm gonna put this to bed today. The ink's on this, I should say. One process down. Yay. I've talked about that before, how when it comes to making my comics, I tend to schedule things in terms of processes, how many I can get done each day, and it's usually about 2. 3 if it's if I'm in a groove, or if I'm really kind of chugging along. And sometimes during really frenetic times I can do 4 or 5. Not ideal though, but when you make comics, you gotta keep making progress every single day. Otherwise, it's so easy to fall behind. But that's why I tend to think in terms of processes, because a lot of comic creators, especially new ones, they get overwhelmed by the enormity of the project, and they only see the forest and not the trees. And I feel like you don't just have to break them up into like trees. You got to break them up into like branches sometimes to stay sane and keep things moving forward, because it's all about incremental steps towards that goal. If you always see the big picture, you're going to get overwhelmed. It's one reason why I draw the characters first, almost always, because that's where the eye of the reader is gonna go. So if you focus your first sort of attention as an artist on the characters, you're gonna be good. You can always adjust the background later to make it look better, diminish it more. But if you start with the background, especially on a page where a character features prominently, and that's your focus, you're probably gonna have to redraw something. There are exceptions. I'm going to show you an exception right now, actually. It's here. I'm working on, actually, you can't really see it, unfortunately. Here, you can see it better. But the background for this piece, which is this giant fence with Beware the Woozy painted on it, especially with the composition I did, that had to be the focus of how I drew the panel, or drew the page originally. And then you can see the characters are just really roughed in here. But I'm going to be finishing the background for that first, because that is the main focus. So that has to be where I'm focusing. All right, back to work. I know a background like this isn't probably the most exciting thing to watch somebody ink, but I do feel like sometimes you gotta live stream the boring stuff also, just to sort of let people know what they're in for, if they're, because a lot of people watch streams like this to see what other comic creators are doing, and if you can give them a sense of, hey, this is how I do things, even the mundane stuff can be interesting, because you get to kind of watch the thought process of the artist. It's just crazy how much attention is given to a comic page. It's probably going to be, you know, I mean, at least, you know, initially the reader is just reading the dialogue and sort of almost just feeling the artwork and not really looking at it, at least in my experience. But you gotta give everything that you can. Oh, come on. Whoops. Come on. This brush acts up sometimes. Come on, stop it. What is going on? There we go. It's a great brush, but sometimes it just freaks out a little bit when it comes to the width. I don't understand why. Almost done with this. I'll probably go in and adjust, tweak things. You can see I'm moving pretty fast here just to get things done. But I can do that, you know, when I'm doing a final polish / edit. But for now, it's working. Lots of work done so far. Of course, I still haven't done one of the most important parts. Now that the Patchwork Girl is in the story, one of the most complex things that I do for this is drawing in. You can see I'm starting it now. It's drawing in the patches, and I've got like I've established a set of rules for, you know, how they go. They're not only the face is ever really consistent, but in terms of, you know, which colors go where, I have a sort of rule about where the colors go. But this is part of the process of doing the patches. I ink everything about her except for the patches first, and then I go in and start doing things like this. And, you know, nothing is consistent. It's all just kind of there, because it's funny, even when I'm looking at drawings of her from the comic, I don't even think about where the patches are and the consistency. I'm just looking, you know, like everybody else who reads comics, I'm mainly just looking at her eyes. Makes you wonder, how much do we not notice about, like, what our friends are wearing, you know, things like that. It's like, do we ever really look, or do we just kind of accept, you know, sort of a general way people look? But this is how I do the patches. And at first it was a little more sort of precise and not as loose as this, but, you know, as with everything else when you're working on a comic, you start to get a feel for how things go, and I can do it pretty fast now. I was talking I'll say one more thing and then I gotta get going. talking to my wife recently when I sent her. She flats my pages for me. I was talking about how Marvel Comics stopped their adaptations of the Wizard of the Oz books at book 6, which is the previous book in the series from Patchwork Girl. One of the many reasons I chose Patchwork Girl is because Marvel did stop their adaptations of book 6, and I thought, well, I love Patchwork Girl. I'm going to do that one, because I'd always wanted to do an Oz adaptation. But I kind of joked her. I said, I wonder how much the decision not to keep moving forward with the adaptations is, Scotty Young looked at the story of and the character of Patchwork Girl and was like, I'm not drawing those patches for 6 issues. Scotty, if you ever hear this, let me know, because I think I don't blame you if that was the case. I love this character so much, but and it's worth it in the end, but man, it's a pain. It's a pain in the butt. Even the original artist on the book, John R. Neal, which, I have it right here, actually. Always at my side. Even he didn't keep things consistent, and he only had to draw her, 20 times in the entire book. I absolutely love this character. But, like I said, oh man, what a pain. I don't like that. Sometimes you gotta throw like a patch like that in there randomly and then work outward from that. It's something I found. Like throw a triangle in here and a square there and work from that. But I hope that someday somebody notices all the work I did on the patches for this character and says, hey, good job. Also, keeping their size consistent is really just sort of guesswork. Just sort of, I've looked at some panels that I've done, and it's like, those look pretty big. I wonder what I was thinking that day. But originally, I was going to do all the flatting of the Patchwork Girl patches on my own, but I sort of established a rule for how to color her patches, and my wife has done a great job with that set of rules. All right, I think that's enough for today. This page, as you can see, I only have to do the background, for this panel and the patches, and then I'm all done. And I could have really fudged the backgrounds on these 2 panels, but I try not to if I don't have to. I like doing backgrounds to make sure that the world is there for the reader. I hate having to sort of, say, well, I guess I don't have time for a background on that panel. I'll fudge it with a solid color with some textures or something. I've had to do it, but it's frustrating for me. All right, so that's about it. Tomorrow I'll be back again and be working on another page. Maybe I'll try to finish up the inks on this page tomorrow. God, I can't wait to color this. It's going to be so much fun, this waterfall scene. But that's what I've done today. All right, so thanks for watching. Please remember, issue 2 of Patchwork Girl of Oz came out today from Image Comics, so it'll be in every comic shop. It looks like that. Again, here it is in physical form. Can't see too well because of the lighting. But it's on sale today. You can get it at any comic shop. You can get it digitally at Comixology and all those good places online. And if you really, really want to help me out, please leave a review on the Amazon/Comixology page. That would really help me a lot. You have no idea how much reviews help out creators. So thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Please like, subscribe, and follow on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. And I'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central. Take care.